You're listening to The Drew Yari Show.
Nap earlier too, as well as watching AEW from the other night.
Let me just let me kind of read it. Let me kind of understand what you were saying. Were you taking a nap during AEW?
Well, it gave me a nap.
All right, fair enough. Yeah,
the thing is,
go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, and the thing is, I got my wife to start watching because my wife casually watches with me. Mm-hmm. And she's like, I don't really care about NXT anymore. And I was like, well, you were kind of invested in some of the people on this show. You want to give that a shot? So she's going to give it a shot for a few weeks.
Oh. Yeah, NXT, the new 2.0 shit, I tried giving it a shot once, and it's just outside of, like, you know, Steiner's Kid, and that's really about it. I just don't care.
I try to give it time to, like, develop and give a shit about the characters, because I always the thing that I say to her is like, she, like when I said, like, why don't you try watching, you know, it's AEW on occasion, she's like, well, I don't know anyone, and I'm like, well, there was a time where you didn't know, you know, you didn't know who Biggie was at one point or whoever, you know, so it's like, so but by that rationale, I'm just trying to give it time to build the characters, but it's like, cool, this guy plays poker, and that's a gimmick. And this week, he attacked Cameron Grimes because Cameron Grimes bluffed him out of a hand. It's like, I literally had to go back and watch it again because I'm like, did I like take something and I'm hallucinating?
Oh, yeah. Just poor Triple H. They took everything he made that show into, and they just flush it down the drain. Jesus Christ.
I saw the funniest tweet today, and it was because I don't actually tweet anymore. I have an account basically just to keep up on stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't like tweet anything on it. But somebody said something similar. They said poor Triple H. Every time he builds someone up, they release him. And they can't wait for him to leave and start his own promotion, which obviously is never going to happen. And then someone replied and said, "Oh yeah, poor Damian Priest and Matt Riddle."
Well, you know what? I heard that. I think. I mean, it's not going to happen. But I heard. I remember Jim Cornette was talking about it. That, you know, fuck it, Triple H and Shawn Michaels should just start their own promotion. Like, why the fuck not?
Yeah, Shawn Michaels might. I got to say that Triple H probably is never leaving this company unless he gets divorced.
I mean, yeah, you're right about that, but it's just one of those things of, like, you can just imagine how pissed off this guy is, and you can just imagine him walking into, you know, headquarters and just being like, fuck this company. Like, what the fuck?
That's the downside of not having to take a drug test for the last 20 years.
Yeah, true. And it's just like, I don't know if you said this, but, like, you know, the joke about Triple H, which is kind of a joke and it's kind of reality, is that he never put over anyone, and when he finally decides to put over someone, they end up getting released. And
right.
So, but
well, it's like he got so much shit for so long as an in-ring talent with you know, like you said, not putting people over, and then it's like, you know, I never really had when you look back at that time frame, especially that 2002 to 2006, you realize that there weren't a whole lot of people to really carry it that well. So it kind of made sense. But it's like, now it seems like he's really found his niche as far as developing talent and stuff. And then they bring in Bruce Pritchard to fuck it all up.
Bruce Pritchard, they bring back Johnny Ace, fucking Kevin Dunn, who just fucked with everything just to spite Triple H.
Yeah.
I mean, it sucks. It really does suck, because just the guys like the Killer Crosses, like Keith Lee, and then like the people we're going to be talking about. It's like the whole year for Cross or someone like Cross is that he began the year by being the NXT champion, and then he gets on the main roster for like what 4 months, and they give him a shit gimmick, and he gets released.
Yeah, you know what? I wasn't too down on the whole losing to Jeff Hardy thing because that's part of like building a character and stuff. So like at that point, I was like, okay, that makes sense because he'll just come and he'll just go apeshit, which he kind of did for a while until they saddle him with the helmet gimmick.
Well, I'm kind of in the different camp of like they should have just had him beat Jeff Hardy because I love Jeff Hardy. I'm a Jeff Hardy mark. I always have been. I still am. But it's just one of those things of like Jeff should have just died on the cross for Cross. You know what I mean? And the other thing I thought that was kind of weird was that they never really did anything with it. I mean, granted, I know Jeff got COVID, but
I have a feeling that would have happened the next year, the next week or two, if it weren't for the Jeff getting COVID. That kind of fucked up that storyline.
Yeah, because like that would have been a really good feud. Like you could have seen Cross just go ape shit, and then Jeff, kind of bring out, I guess, more. What's the word I'm trying to look for? Just more shit in his arsenal, and that would have been interesting to watch. But I don't know. They just decided not to do shit with it, even after Jeff came back.
For once, something got fucked up around Jeff, and it wasn't his fault.
Right. Poor Jeff.
They did a year or two ago. He did, I guess, when he was hurt, and he was doing like some of his music. He was going around doing shows in like really small places. Mm-hmm. He did one here, but I'm just like, maybe like when Jeff Hardy's in recovery, maybe don't book him in bars.
Yeah,
they do that with Jake Roberts too. They did that at a bar around here.
Oh boy, yeah,
it's like maybe like just keep him out of those type of places because we have a ton of like smaller like art house type of place where a show like that would work.
Right, you're from on Skype, you're from Virginia, right?
Yeah, Richmond.
Okay,
hometown of Mickey James.
Mickey James, and your AEW World Champion, Adam Page.
Yeah, except he's from Virginia, but not Richmond. Yeah,
Norfolk. I'm sorry.
No, the show is in Norfolk. He's from Aaron's Creek, which is further out west, like out towards the mountains.
So he's a well, not a city boy, but he's like a small town boy.
Yeah. That town has a population of like only a couple hundred.
Man, that really is a small town boy.
Yeah.
But I guess we should switch gears to the big news of the week. Another bus flip. I guess I'll make more of a tiny bus flip, but last night
it was a short bus flip.
I guess you can call it like a short bus flip. We'll just go with that. Fuck it. So I screenshotted Sean Ross Sapp's list of the wrestlers got released.
For once, he didn't make shit up.
Oh no, he didn't. He's actually on point with this one. The first one on the list we could start with is Jomo, John Morrison.
Yeah, I'm a John Morrison guy. I always have been. I think he's not only an insanely good talent. I always thought he had good look for wrestling. Like he especially like his first run. I was like, he's got the look that like girls could probably go nuts for with like the abs and shit like that. Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't be surprised to find out that he asked for his release after they released his wife a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, and that's kind of a good segue. Is Taya Valkyrie or Frankie Monet? She was just going crazy on Twitter. She said fuck WWE. Which is quite the opposite. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Which is quite the opposite of what she was saying a couple weeks ago when she first got released. She was very thankful for the opportunity, and now she's fuck them. Well, also I think because like in her post, she was mainly thanking Triple H and Shawn. So I don't think her slight is against Triple H or Shawn. I think it's just against everybody else, like Vince and Bruce Pritchard and Kevin Dunn.
Yeah.
But let me pull up her tweets real quick because she.
Are you a fan of hers?
I'll be honest. I didn't really see much of her work in Impact because I've never really had Impact. So I was only going off of what I heard from other people because, I mean, I heard she was good in Impact. I heard like she was a beast over in like Lucha and shit like that. She was actually, like cut up, like ripped to shreds. And when I saw her debut in NXT, I'm just like, okay, what is this? Like, what is this gimmick supposed to be? And I noticed something that other people immediately started calling out, which is she does not look like she's in the best of shape.
Yeah, I've never been a fan, that much of a fan, to be honest. But
Right.
and I know it's hard to keep up on Impact, especially because for a while there it was changing channels so often, and a lot of times to channels that most cable systems don't even have.
Right.
But yeah, no, I've never been much of a fan. In fact, a couple years ago, when Johnny, I'll say Johnny Impact was still the champion there,
Mm-hmm.
I was at the WrestleCon in New York.
Right.
And like I said, I've been a big fan of his, so I was like, when I found out he was there, I'm like, I'm getting in his line for sure.
Right.
And then when they were taking the picture, she's like, "Hey, you want me to get in that?" And I was like, "No."
Yeah, I can already see you saying. I can see you saying that.
I mean, I was a little more polite. I said no, thank you, but it was like, yeah, I'm good.
So I have her tweet right here. She said, "Stop supporting a company that has zero respect for their talent. You love pro wrestling, spend your money on hundreds of other alternatives. This is wrong ethically. As employers, they don't care about us, talent, or fans." And then she posted something else about her husband. She said, we'll do just fine. And she posted this. "My husband got fired. This is why I'm saying this. I'm speaking my truth. I'm sick and tired of people treating us like shit. In 2 weeks, we both lost our incomes. Before the holidays, I'm allowed to feel how I do." I mean, you can't really fault her for feeling the way she does. I mean, because she's obviously going to stand by her man. So,
I gotta wonder if when she got released and she put that somewhat positive tweet out, Jordan Grace went apeshit on them, and I know like the two of them, like Ty and Jordan Grace, are really tight.
Mhm.
So I gotta wonder if like Jordan Grace just got in her head a little bit.
I mean, that could happen. I mean, I wouldn't really put it past it because we all have that one friend that will, like, there's that one friend that's really positive, and then there's the other friend that's like, no, fuck that. Like, no, fuck them.
And that want to work on you and work on you and work on you.
Right, and I'll be honest, I'm usually that friend. I'm usually the one that's like hyping up, going, no, fuck that. Don't be nice. Fuck that.
What was I gonna say? I don't know. I forgot.
But yeah, John Morrison. I've been a John Morrison fan for a while.
I remember now. I'm sorry. Yeah, like obviously they're gonna be okay. I'm fucking positive John Morrison is probably at least gonna be in AEW for a while, simply to add another Johnny blank name, so it'd be Johnny Elite.
Johnny Dynamite.
Yeah, Johnny Dynamite.
Mm.
But having been someone who is in my corporate job, I got laid off a few years ago, so it's like, regardless of what you do, and I'm positive they're going to land on their feet, I don't feel good about anyone ever losing their job.
Right.
So in that sense, I'm really bummed out for everyone. However, there are some people who kind of don't need to be there anymore. Nia Jax. So yeah. So I'm kind of down that people are out of work, and like she said, especially at the holidays. But once that, and I guess Ty has probably got a 30-day non-compete because she's already booked for shows in like January.
Right.
They're gonna be all right.
Right, and then Killer Cross Killer Cross is already booked for something in February because that's when his 90-day runs up, and Scarlett only had a 30, so she's gonna be all right. Everyone's gonna be all right. I mean,
Scarlett put out that she was booked through February already.
I mean, good for her. I mean, because she's talented. She can get booked in like a second. Killer Cross can get booked in a second. Keith Lee can get booked in a second. So same thing with John Morrison.
Hey,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Is it fair that when I think of Scarlett, I don't necessarily think of everything she's done over the last year? I think of the lap dance on Scott Steiner.
I mean, that's funny you say that because that's actually the first time I actually heard about her because I remember I was listening to Soup and they just started playing the video and I couldn't see the video but I can hear the video and it's
Right.
you know Scarlett doing the lap dance on Scotty and of course I watched the video. I'm like, holy shit! Like this girl's like disturbingly attractive. Like Jesus
Right.
Christ.
Yeah, she is. But it's like, it's I don't know if it's fair because that's the one thing I think of when I think of her, and obviously she's done more than just that. She didn't make like giving wrestlers lap dances like part of her gimmick. It was like a one done kind of deal.
Right, and her with Cross was like that was great because she could talk. I mean, whenever her and Cross were doing those vignettes, and they were doing like the, I guess you satanic, witchcraft type of shit. She was
Right.
great. She was great in that role, and
Yeah.
I just again, I don't want to bring up old wounds, but it's just like, taking her away from Cross, and I know there was like a medical thing, but it's just, I didn't realize how important she was to him whenever she was taken away from Cross, and I'm just like, yeah, these two need to be a tandem everywhere they go.
She feels like the kind of person that Vince would want on his show in the worst way.
Oh yeah, because she literally looks like another clone. Well, I don't want to say clone, but like she looks like Trish Stratus. You look like a young Trish Stratus, and you look at Cross, same thing. Cross looks like if Stone Cold and Batista had a baby.
Like, to where I'm surprised that Scarlett wasn't the first one to be on Raw.
Yeah, that's just, I don't know. Like, let me ask you something. Do you think with Vince nowadays he's allowing other people to kind of, warp his opinion on certain people?
I think, sort of. I think Stephanie's gotten to him.
Right.
In the sense of we don't need the TNA type of shit anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So to that extent, I think so. But once they come up, I think he has in his head people want to see Liv Morgan, or someone like that.
Right, and I was also kind of, and Stephanie has a good point. I was also thinking more along the lines of someone like Bruce Pritchard, who, Triple H doesn't like Bruce Pritchard. Triple H hates Kevin Dunn, and Kevin Dunn hates Triple H. So, do you think it's a thing of Vince isn't really watching NXT, but he's allowing someone like Bruce Pritchard and maybe like a few other agents and even Kevin Dunn to be like, yeah, I don't know about this Cross guy. This Cross guy has a lot to work on. Blah blah blah. And Vince is like, yeah, you're right. Let's fix him up. Let's give him a helmet.
But, like, if that's true, like, I gotta think, why did they bring him to Raw in the first place and do the, 2 months or however long it was, pre-helmet? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those questions of WWE. It's just like the type of shit they're doing now is the type of shit you would have never seen them do, like in 2005. Like, a guy like Cross... I mean, we're staying on Cross. I'm sorry, I'm staying on Cross, but it's just like a guy like Cross is just like, he has everything that Vince loves. He looks like a badass. He has a cool entrance, and he has a hot as fuck girlfriend. So, I don't know where that went wrong. I really don't. I honestly don't. It's baffling to me. I mean,
I feel that he's a little too small for Vince's taste.
Cross?
Yeah, I think, like, as far as, like, his frame, it's not as big, because, Vince loves the giants.
Yeah, but Cross is like 6'5".
Yeah, but he's not, like, super jacked, you know what I mean? Like, he's not, like, and when I say that, I mean, he likes, like, the Batista clone type of size.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, because he's not like, tall and lanky. He's, tall and actually, like, built. Like, he has muscle to him. He looks like, I mean, he looks like he should be in a superhero movie. Like, that's what he looks like. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess to an extent, yeah. But people talk a lot about, like, Vince being out of touch and stuff like that, and I think to a certain extent he is, just in the fact that he's in his mid-70s, and that's going to be the way. But I think, and a lot of people say, like, well, he's so out of touch, then AEW is going to take him over, which there's so many other things. Like, number one, I think history has shown us that if their back's to the wall, they're going to come out on top. Like, if it turns into a full-on scale war, TK has no idea what he's in for. WCW showed us that when Impact tried to go to Monday nights and they countered with Bret Hart coming back for the first time. You know, like we kind of have that. We have that trend sort of already established. So the whole Vince being out of touch, I think, is a little bit overkill. I'm by no means defending WWE because there's so much shit on that show. But anyone who thinks like they're going out of business is fucking nuts, especially when they just recorded record profits and are doing more because they're cutting all these damn people.
Oh no, WWE's never going out of business because they make money in spite of themselves. Vince got that $2 billion deal from what is it, the Peacock, and he's still getting a shit ton of money from the Saudis. So WWE's fine. I mean, I think when they'll start actually going after AEW is when either one of two things happen. Either one, AEW actually gets into the ratings, and when I mean ratings, I don't mean the demos, the things that nobody gives a shit about, like actual ratings, like actual viewers, not like, oh, we got the 18 to 49 demographic. Like no, actual fucking viewers. And two, when Tony Khan starts taking money out of Vince's wallet or pocket.
The tough thing with viewers too is that like we know who watches the weekly shows, but we don't know how many people watch WB shows on Peacock and Hulu, and we don't know how many people watch AEW shows on like the TNT app. Right.
I don't know. Like wrestling to me, it can't be mainstream anymore because there's nobody that has that A+ appeal, that star appeal of like The Rock or Stone Cold. Like the best thing that wrestling can do is just be cool. Like be cool to watch, and like that's pretty much my only thing I think wrestling can do.
I think the internet has really ruined wrestling in a lot of ways. And let me give you an example. I was watching this AEW pay-per-view the other day. I bought it. A friend of mine came over. We watched it together, and I was having this conversation that I'm about to start here. And I said, and this was probably about halfway through the pay-per-view. And I said, you know what, like, it's really weird because, like, with the internet and with social media and everyone having a voice, you can't have a surprise because I could just say, like, and I pull a name out of my ass. You could just say, oh, hey, well, maybe Jay Lethal's going to show up, and then he does. And then an hour later, he did.
Oh, that's crazy.
So it's like, literally, like, whereas, like, one of the real appeals, especially during the Monday Night War era, was, like, how the fuck did they show up here? The one that I think of is really late in the Monday Night War, where Haku was like a WCW champion and he showed up on the Royal Rumble. And it was just like there are no real whoa moments as far as somebody just showing up on their on any of the shows right now.
One thing I'll say before we get back into the topic at hand, and we can definitely talk about the AEW pay-per-view, is I think the only whoa moment that could happen is if John Cena showed up on AEW. Like, that's pretty much the only thing I could think of as far as, like, a big, like, holy fuck thing that could happen. But other than that...
I mean, what if Andy Kaufman faked his death and he shows up on one of the shows?
I mean, that could be big.
I mean, it's about as likely.
Right.
I'm sorry for changing the subject, but
yeah, it's all good. That I like to bounce back and forth on topics on the show. Next on this list is the rest of Hit Row: Top Dollar, Ashanti Adonis, and Isaiah Swerve Scott.
Someone asked me the other day, after this happened, what was my favorite Hit Row moment, and I said tonight when they got released.
It's just like, okay, I was listening to Soup earlier because Soup had like a special for like the new short bus flip, and Joe Numbers touched based on that the guy Top Dollar, AJ Francis, whatever you want to call him, almost seems like he's the sole reason why this group got disbanded.
I feel like he was, yeah.
Right, because he has a shitty online reputation because he gets into fights with fans, and that's what kind of did him in. And another thing that they brought up was that, and this is something he even said, which was, actually, you know what? I actually screenshotted the tweets, so let me just pull those up.
Well, he also, while you're pulling that up, he also, and I don't know if they made mention of this because I didn't hear what they did earlier today, but he also, after they released BFAB, he put out like a track, like knocking WWE. And it's
Right.
like, why did I get fired? I only knocked my employer, who not only put him on TV to wrestle, but let him fly around the country on their dime to negotiate with legends for their shit.
They actually played that song. But,
did they?
Yes, and of course,
Was as terrible as I would think it would be?
Even more terrible.
Well, and I was thinking, like, do people still say homie? Because he does.
I say homie like every now and then. I'll just do it to be funny.
Yeah,
Like,
Mish calls me homie, but I'm saying, like, in the hip-hop community, do people still say that? It feels like it's, like, 30 years too late.
I mean, as a hip hop aficionado, I'm gonna go ahead and say I guess. But here's his tweets, because Cultaholic Wrestling on Twitter posted, according to a new report, Top Dollar rubbed people the wrong way backstage in WWE. AJ Francis, aka Fran Cent, the Cent symbol, I guess that's what it is. He put, here's what rubs people the wrong way. Standing up for your own. When Bree was released, BFAB, and I called the office to tell them they made a mistake.
And only 2 weeks later, he and his entire group got fired.
How do you think that phone call would have went between AJ and Vince?
Do you think he thinks he has some kind of in with the office because he did the treasure show?
I mean, probably. He maybe thinks that, hey, I'm cool with these guys.
I talk to Triple H every week.
And Triple H is like, why is this fucker calling me?
I just had a heart attack.
God damn it. Tell this fucker to leave me alone. But how do you think that phone call would have been that Top Dollar calls Vince and is like, hey, man, you made a mistake firing BFAB. Who's this?
Like, this is Top Dollar. Hold on a second. Johnny!
Yes.
This is Top Dollar. Hey, Vince, he's one of the guys on SmackDown. Get rid of him. You know what I feel bad for? I don't feel bad for him because he made his own bed.
Right.
I don't even necessarily feel too bad for Ashante because I think he's just hot garbage.
Right.
I feel really bad for Swerve because Swerve is a
Yes.
fucking talent. I mean, and again, Swerve, much like Jomo, he's going to land on his feet because he's a fucking talent and he had his name before WWE. The rest of these guys are, convention bound.
Well, Swerve was known as Shane Strickland on the Indies, so I don't know if he's going to be Shane Strickland. I imagine so, but I already read something that, companies are already lining up to hire the guy as soon as his 90-day complete clause is up. So, hey, good for him. And again, I'm with you. I feel bad for the guy because the guy is uber talented and, he had something. And he had the unfortunate, responsibility of having to carry this group.
I wonder how that deal works. Like, as far as like, did they convert to a 90-day deal as soon as they went to the main show, or did they have to like renegotiate their deal? So, I wonder if maybe they are on 30 days because they just moved over.
I believe it is 90 days. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, I think it is 90 days. As soon as you get to the main roster, it is 90 days once you're released. But at the same token, Oney Lorcan has to wait 90 days, and he was always on NXT. But
you know what? Like, wouldn't that would be the closest thing to a surprise if he was on a 30-day, but we all thought he was on a 90-day, and like Christmas Eve he shows up on Dynamite or something.
Yeah, and then it's kind of like with Aleister Black, where they thought they gave him 90 days, but they accidentally gave him 30 days.
Yeah, that was kind of a surprise, So there are some of those that could possibly happen. I mean, not the surprise that they showed up there just to win.
But yeah, it's weird with Hit Row because it kind of reminds me of the Kazarni. You remember Kazarni, right?
Yeah.
Where they were hyping this fucker up for weeks, and then he has one match on TV with MVP, and then he's gone after that.
Right. And
it's just like, these guys had one match, and they were in a feud with Jinder Mahal for whatever reason. And they had Jinder Mahal and like that guy Shaky or whatever did like a rap off.
They had the one thing backstage with Sami Zayn too.
Oh yeah, that. And it's just like, Bye-bye. So, yeah.
How Sami Zayn has come out of this year unscathed is beyond me.
I mean, Sami Zayn's Sami Zayn. I mean, he's the guy can work and the guy can talk, and I don't know, but I think he's gone. He's gonna be gone pretty soon. But let me finish up these tweets. He put, standing up for yourself. People in the PC told me Hit Row wouldn't work for a year and a half, and I never took their advice. He's right. It worked for 2 months.
If you consider that working.
Oh yeah. He put, trust me, I got plenty of stories I can tell about how I was disrespected, but just took it on the chin like a professional. Even with the video I released today, it was all professionalism. But I'm not going to let these BS reports ruin my reputation. I got tea I can spill too. End quote.
Imagine he shows up at Dave Meltzer's house.
Oh, can you imagine that? That'd be gold.
Hey, I did the math today. This year, more people have been released from WWE than accused Joey Ryan.
That is a very interesting fact. I mean, would you be surprised if there's more releases like next month?
Yes, but I was surprised that there were more after. I thought the ones a couple weeks ago was going to be the last ones of the year.
I mean, what's his name? Go ahead.
I was going to say, so nothing would surprise me at this point.
Yeah, Nick Khan made it really simple. Nobody is safe.
Yeah.
And shit, I mean, Mish even said, fuck, why not just fire like 30 more? Fuck it.
Yeah.
I mean, get rid of that Cruiser, the 205 Live show already, because there's nobody on that show.
I don't think I've ever watched that show, not once.
Never. And it's weird because you see Odyssey Jones on the show, and it's like, wait, 205 Live. And you see women wrestling on the show, too, so it's just like, wait, wasn't this supposed to be a show for cruiserweights? But
well, they're under 205.
Yeah, true.
Unless you saw Nia Jax on there, that is.
Nia Jax. I made a stupid joke when she got fired. I was saying she should open her own bakery called My Holes. Would you like to try my donut? Holes. That was bad.
I was thinking, like, because she was definitely a surprise getting fired. Mm-hmm. But I was thinking eventually she was going to become part of the bloodline thing.
That would have been interesting.
Just put everyone in the family in that storyline, you know?
Just put every Samoan, everybody related to a Samoan in one family.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, like, there's only but so many that are working there right now, so you can only do but so many. But, you know, especially, like, they could have done something with, like, Naomi, where she did what they wanted to support her husband, but she kind of had enough. You know, like, there were some there's some very possibly good storylines to still do out of that.
Let me ask you kind of like not really an off-topic question, but do you think, like, this is just hypothetical, it probably won't happen. Well, I mean, it hasn't happened, but if they ever decide to bring in Jacob Fatu, do you see them bringing him in as like a heater for Roman?
Gosh, that's a good one. I definitely see them potentially bringing him in at one point, but I could see them going between him being like a foil and then kind of joining, or him being with them and then kind of breaking away, because obviously Jacob Fatu is a star on his own.
I mean, because that could be almost like an evolution thing. Like Jacob Fatu can be Batista, Roman can be Triple H, and you know it becomes a thing of like Jacob is always the guy that helps Roman win, and then eventually becomes a thing of Jacob's like, okay, I kind of want to win now, and that's a Mania match right there.
Yeah, but where your logic is flawed is that with Evolution, even though it took a while, Triple H's end game was to build two new stars out of Batista and Randy Orton, or Mark Jindrak at one point. I don't think Roman is interested in building any new stars.
I mean, as long as they're his family.
I mean, I don't think Roman is interested in stepping aside at any point in his life, is what I mean.
I mean, you never know. I mean, they could possibly bring in the other Uso on NXT.
Yeah. I mean, I would be surprised if we get to Royal Rumble and he's not on SmackDown.
Yeah, true. Let's finish off the rest of this list. Tegan Knox.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised, but she's pretty injury prone. So, then again, so is Cesaro and Dolph Ziggler, and they're still around. But, you know, they brought her up, and she hasn't really done anything. Even they're doing something with Shotzi over on SmackDown. But before that, it was, probably a year before we saw her do anything last time she got hurt.
Right, and speaking of Shotzi, I have SmackDown on Shotzi's wrestling Sasha. So, yeah, Tegan.
How's her dye job? I saw her tweet about how she fucked up a dye job.
A dye job? I mean, it doesn't look that bad.
Okay. I just happened to see she tweeted about that, so I was curious as to what it looked like. And she spelled dying wrong.
I don't like that they made her a heel, though. I mean, I would have preferred to keep her a face because Shotzi to me is marketable because she has a unique look. Like, I can see little girls or possibly even little boys in the crowd, you know, saying, I like her hair, I like her tattoos, I like her look, I want to wear that helmet, I want to buy that tank. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think they need to do something with her, and it's not like she's over to like a Trish Stratus level or something like that.
Right.
It's not like you're taking the female John Cena and turning her heel.
Right. Like she's not Trish Stratus definitely, but she's unique because in a sense where she's her own thing. She's her own person.
Yeah, I mean, like, time remains to be seen how well she does at that, but, you know, maybe it's something that she's able to do, but I wasn't too familiar with her stuff on the indies.
Right.
So I don't know if she ever worked heel before, but maybe those are the kind of things that factored in.
Well, I mean, I know she's been around for like a minute.
Yeah.
She was on Tough Enough, actually, years ago, and this is before she became Shotzi. She was just Ashley. Her real name, and there's a clip online where, you know, Chris Jericho is one of the judges. He's just like a fucking dick to her. Like, he just tells her straight up, like, I don't think you have it. Personally, if it were up to me, you wouldn't be on the show, but unfortunately it's not, and she ended up having to leave the show because of a medical issue.
Right.
So
I remember that, yeah.
And then flash forward, she ends up making fun of Jericho doing the quote-unquote dive off the cage. Which, yeah, it was funny.
She's supplanting her income by selling fans boxes of her shit.
I mean, that can't be I mean, yeah. I don't know. There've been worse things you can do with income. So I can't.
Sonny.
Yeah, Sonny. I mean, there's a level of worse, and I don't think anyone can get to Sonny.
Right. So
Shotzi's like, you know, mild at best as far as like the worst thing you can sell.
I'm willing to give this heel turn of hers a shot. You know, worst thing that can happen is she's not that interesting, which quite frankly I didn't find her all that interesting already. So, what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, back to Tegan Knox. Yeah, just, you know, she was a good hand, but yeah, injury prone. She had like 3 ACL injuries, and you know, just. I think she'll do fine. She can go to AEW and bolster that women's division, so she'll do fine.
She can go to AEW. She could do NWA, who's pushing their women right now. You know.
Oh yeah. Next is Drake Maverick.
Did he post a video?
He posted a video, but it's not what you think. So in the video, it seems like he's posting another, you know, I'm crying video. But then it stops and like it gets dark, and you see I guess like the inner consciousness of Drake Maverick coming and be like, "Hey, stop! You did this before. You can't get away with this now." You know, pretty much like show them that they're sorry for, you know, getting rid of you. Blah blah. It was a nice video. Like it wasn't overly done or like kind of douchey. It was done right. That's the best way I can describe it.
Gotcha.
And I like Drake Maverick. He seems like a good dude. He can be used in any way. I mean, if it's not a wrestler, have him be an announcer, an interviewer, a manager. Like, he can be used anywhere. He'll get a job in like a second. I think he'll be fine. And he has like a disturbingly hot wife, so he has that going for him.
Yeah. When everything went down as it did last year, where they hired him back basically off that video, I remember saying like, what are you gonna do when he gets released, down the road? Because let's be honest, he's not gonna be a lifer.
Right. But yeah, I mean, again, if you're not going to use him as a wrestler, at least use him as like a manager or some type of like television talent. So, but I think he'll be fine. He can go to AEW. He can go back to Impact. I mean, fuck, he can show up on NWA. Why
Yeah.
not? Next is who am I looking at? Shane Thorne.
Outside of Retribution, I don't really have a whole lot to say about him, just because I haven't seen as much.
Yeah, I've only seen maybe like a glimpse of something he did, and that's about it. I know, RJ was like really high on him, but other than that, I'm just like, yeah, I don't really see anything in this guy other than that he was Slapjack. That's about it.
Right.
Next is Jackson Riker.
It's another one. I'm surprised it took this long, because he was the one that had all that controversy over his political tweets and shit.
Yeah, that's weird. I mean, I don't know if maybe they wanted to maybe take their time with that release and didn't just want to release them right off the bat. So
Make it obvious.
Make it obvious, like, oh, they're releasing him because he has an opinion.
Meanwhile, they released all of his teammates 6 months ago.
Well, they had a reason for that because they suck, and he sucks too. But WWE has their own agenda of like, well, he sucks, but we don't want this to make it look like we're trying to silence people, which we do, but we don't want people to think it.
I always thought that they didn't do it immediately with the rest of his team, especially in the case of Steve Macklin, because they released Deonna Purrazzo and she went to Impact and immediately became like the top woman there. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, well, let's make sure they don't do that with him. And it's like, oh wait, we've seen him. They can't do that with him.
And he was Gunner in Impact, right?
Yeah.
He was he the one that slapped around Charlotte?
No, that was That's Tom Latimer.
Oh, okay.
On NWA.
Ugh. Is he? Who's he with?
Camille.
Ugh.
He's not gonna try that shit on Camille. I guarantee you that.
Oh, I mean, good, because she's built like a brick shithouse.
Yeah. She's tall, man, too. She's like my height.
You said you met her before, right?
Yeah.
What was she like?
She's nice. I mean, she was fine. It was at a convention, so I'd paid to do it. But, she was... Some people at those kind of things, people are like, just kind of like, people will just sort of kind of like rush you through. But people like she was the one that will sit and talk to you for a couple minutes. Of course, it helped that there wasn't really anyone else at the table at the time because it was late in the day. Victoria's another one like that. Like, she'll sit and talk to you for 5 to 10 minutes, even if there's a line behind her.
Right. Yeah, I heard. What is it? Sammy Guevara's kind of the same. Like because Jeff Lippman had said that I think he was at Starcast, and Sammy Guevara essentially stayed past his shift and was just talking to people and taking pictures of people. And he's like super nice. So, I mean, it's always refreshing to hear things like that.
I know a guy. He was really trying to get me into Sammy, but I just don't like his style all that much.
Right.
But he knows him. Like, they're friends somehow, and he for a long time was trying to tell me. He got really mad at me because I'm not a fan.
Right. Yeah, we'll talk about Sammy in a bit, but yeah, those are the short bus releases.
Yeah.
Expect more.
Yeah, there's got to be more, but I mean, there's some people that I just don't want to see let go, and I'm fearing that they're on the next one because they somehow a group like Legado del Fantasma has been able to evade all these releases, but I got a feeling that their luck's going to run out at some point.
I mean, that might have something to do with that Electra girl,
right?
Because they're really they want to bring her up, but at the same time they know that she still needs some seasoning. So that's probably why they're keeping Escobar around. Who Escobar to me is all around talent. Good look. Great talker, great talent. If only he were at least maybe like 6'2", that he could be a big star in the company.
Right.
Like if you can put his talent and his promos into Andrade's body, like you'd have a star right there. But
Yeah.
that's just my opinion. But
I agree with you.
yeah, let's talk. You want to talk about Full Gear?
Sure.
Full Gear was on November 13th, a Saturday in Minneapolis, Minnesota, Target Center. I actually bought the pay-per-view. It was the first time ever I bought a pay-per-view. Like, who would have thunk? Who would have thunk it would have been AEW?
Ever.
Like, ever. So
Like you didn't buy pay-per-views before like the network or anything?
Oh, no, because back in the day, my dad had what was known as the Hot Box.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Where we legally, quote-unquote, had the pay-per-views. So, and then after that, after we didn't have the Hot Box anymore, I would just stream it on not-so-legal sites. And then the network came in, and I just bought the network. So
I see. Yeah, like back in especially like the Attitude Era, I'd have a bunch of friends over, and everyone would just like chip in. And so, but I had so many people that everyone chipping in like $5. Like they pretty much paid for the pay-per-view and a couple pizzas, and I still had like $20 left over.
oh shit, like I was like a fiend, for wrestling, because I even got to the point where I would watch it on like the fucked up screen where you can still hear it, but it was just like
The scrambled thing.
yeah, it basically looked like a painting, like a bad painting.
I listened to Hulk Hogan turn that way at Bash at the Beach.
I listened to WrestleMania, what is it, in 2002 with Hogan and The Rock. So I'm just like, I can hear it, but I can't see it. So, but it was interesting. But anyways, Full Gear. The pre-show match, Hikaru Shida and Thunder Rosa defeated Jamie Hayter and Nyla Rose with Vicky Guerrero in a tag team match. The match was 12 minutes and 32 seconds.
This was obviously a build-up for the TNT tournament, but they didn't say anything about it.
Yeah, that's weird.
And what was really odd, and I'll pop forward to Dynamite too, is that in this match, Serena Deeb interfered on Hikaru. But then the match on Dynamite this week, and Serena Deeb was nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, AEW has a weird thing of not following along with storylines. They're not company. At least WWE has some continuity, like some continuity.
I mean, until you fire someone in the middle of a storyline.
And it's just like we have to pretend that storyline never happened. It's like Aleister Black comes back against Big E, and then he ends up getting released 2 weeks later, and we have to forget that ever happened. It's like the episode of The Simpsons. It's the episode of The Simpsons. Poochie had to go back to his home planet.
Poochie's dead.
Poochie's dead, kids. Oh man. But anyways, the first match of the actual show is to me the match of the night. MJF defeating Darby Allin in a singles match. The match was 22 minutes and 6 seconds.
I'd have to go back and like take a big stock, but this is one of the probably the best opening matches to a pay-per-view I think I've ever seen, even though I thought it was about 5 minutes too long.
Yeah, I mean, the length didn't bother me. I personally was I was a little dumbfounded that it was the opening match, because you would have thought this would have been like the third to last match on the show. But, they needed, their other 6-man tag matches to fill that spot. Personally, I thought maybe one of those matches should have been the opener, but that's just me. Or maybe even the women's match. But I enjoy this match because I like both guys. Darby, I've said, I've done a 180 on because I was never a fan of his at first. But now I see what everybody else sees, and I see talent because, when he does those dives, like it really seems like he's hurting the other guy. Like that one cannonball spot he did to MJF. I'm like, shit, MJF looks like he got whiplash.
Yeah, and there were a lot on this pay-per-view of people landing weirdly on the apron. But yeah, at Darby Allin, I look at him as like this, almost like this generation's Jeff Hardy.
Right, exactly.
Only sober.
Maybe.
I mean, allegedly he's straight edge, but I gotta imagine he's taken aspirin on occasion at least.
Well, yeah, there's no doubt about that. And then MJF, MJF's MJF. MJF, ever since you get him away from the dinner circle, as Jim Cornette would say, he's a much better wrestler. He doesn't do stupid shit. He's amazing on promos as usual. So this feud I liked. I like this feud. I wouldn't mind if this feud went on for another match. But, as AEW, they got to move on. And, judging by what happened on Wednesday, MJF's in a new feud. But, yeah, this match was good. It made sense. It, like you said, it maybe should have been 5 minutes less. But, I wasn't really complaining. But, yeah, the ending made... Go ahead.
If I'm voting on these kind of things, I'm probably voting on MJF as most improved wrestler of the year.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair because he was stuck under Jericho's thumb, and
I mean,
now...
obviously, I'm talking about in ring and not promos. Obviously, promos, he's like fucking next level above pretty much anyone else in the industry right now.
Oh yeah, promos he's amazing on. In ring work. I know you and me kind of went back and forth on this. I never really thought he was bad in the ring. I know you weren't crazy about him in the ring, but I would acknowledge that, yeah, his in-ring work is, average at best, but his promos make up for it. Now he's, not only good on promos, he's great in the ring. So,
yeah,
he's got that going for him.
He's really turning into the total package.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Which is ironic because he made that Lex Luger joke not that long ago.
I remember that joke. I remember Jericho pretending that he was offended.
As he tends to do.
Which is just like, Jericho, didn't you CM Punk with his sister and his parents? That happened.
He also poured Jack Daniels down his throat.
And let's kind of rewind it. Like, I remember Jericho making fun of Dean Malenko's father, his dead father.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's.
Have you ever noticed why your brother and sister, how you and your sister look absolutely nothing alike?
Because you're a bastard.
That was, though, you know what? I'm obviously, and we've talked about this, I'm not a fan of Jericho these days, but that WCW 98 and 99 era, I think that was Jericho's best as far as character work.
Yeah, because that was actually when I started watching. Because I watched WCW first and then WWF, and I just remember Jericho as just like, that was my first introduction of what a heel kind of was, which is just like annoying as fuck, and you want to see someone beat the shit out of them. And then eventually did the thing with Goldberg, and every week I'm just like, can Goldberg spear this guy already? that was always my thing of like, I need to see Goldberg spear this guy, and eventually he did. I remember there was actually a funny bit with that where Jericho would do the Goldberg entrance, like the big dramatic one. Then he had that fat guy named Ralphus,
right? And
like he would like purposely not show up or get lost to the ring, and he was supposed to have a match with Wrath, who was,
he did the This is Spinal Tap entrance where he got lost. Hello, Cleveland.
Yeah, he did that, but like I think there was one night where you were supposed to have a match with Wrath, who was Adam Bomb, right?
Yeah, Ryan Clark. Yeah,
Ryan Clark. And he's supposed to have a match with him, and at the time, I remember they were pushing that guy, like he was undefeated, and it gets lost to the ring, and all of a sudden you just hear, "Come here, you little worm!" And Jericho just goes, "Ah!" and then he just runs away. And I just thought that was funny as shit.
Yeah, he was the perfect chicken shit heel.
Oh yeah, loved it. And then shows up on fucking Raw against The Rock, and the whole place goes nuts. I went nuts.
Yeah,
but
it was like you knew he was gone from WCW. The timing worked out, and then it's like, if this is anyone but Jericho, I'm gonna be disappointed.
Right, but also,
but then it was with The Rock, and that was what it was like. Holy shit, they're bringing him in and starting him with The Rock.
Right, but you know what? I think the difference, the huge difference between that time and today, was that nowadays you can hear about somebody getting released, and the rumors that so Chris Jericho was spotted in Chicago. Is he going to show up? Whereas back then, it's like the internet was not that major, and also granted I was a kid at the time, so I wasn't too familiar with how contracts work or whatever, and also I was kind of under the guise of like this is real. But I wasn't grown up just yet. I'm still not grown up, but I wasn't grown up at the time.
Right.
But,
Yeah. But I mean, yeah. Like the internet was in its infancy, so you didn't really know about all the shit like we do nowadays.
right. So when Jericho showed up, I was just like, okay, I was watching WCW and WWF at the time. But granted, at this time I was watching WWF more because WCW was kind of sucking balls. And I just remember, I didn't even think to put two and two together that Jericho had been gone from WCW. And I just remember that night, and I remember the vignettes of the countdown clock going. I'm like, wait, the countdown clock is not going to go off on New Year's. It's going to go off in August. Like, what the
Right.
hell? And then when the countdown clock went to 3, 2, 1, and then you just see Jericho, I'm like, Chris Jericho, like.
And it interrupted a Rock promo. It's like, what the hell's going on here?
But yeah, it's pretty nuts. One of the greatest debuts in WWE history. One of the greatest.
Right. Yeah.
But let's get back to
Next to Carlito, who won the U.S. title in his debut.
Carlito. I remember that one. And then he ended up stabbing John Cena in a nightclub. Or no, that was Aguilera or Aaron or whatever the fuck his name was.
Yeah. It's Carlito's family that does the stab.
Yeah. Next one is the tag team match for the AEW World Tag Team Championship. You get the Lucha Brothers versus FTR. Lucha Brothers retain. The match was 18 minutes and 30 seconds.
Obviously, I love FTR. We've talked about that. I like the Lucha Brothers, but these two teams just didn't seem to work well together.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed more like FTR was trying to work the Lucha Brothers match, and not like a combination of both working each other's matches. If that makes sense. Yeah,
absolutely.
And I was a little disappointed. But also, I was a little disappointed that they're facing FTR right off the bat. Like, I think what should have happened is that they should have had 2 more matches with the Young Bucks, like simple wrestling psychology of the Young Bucks are like, we want a rematch, and then they get a rematch on Dynamite and Lucha's win. It's like, no, we want one more match at the pay-per-view just to show you that who's the better team, and the Lucha Brothers win. So that's how you solidify them as a tag team. But right off the bat, you give them FTR, which is that should have been for another pay-per-view down the line.
Yeah, they're really weird with the storylines sometimes. Like the whole Bryan Danielson and Kenny Omega thing, I thought could have been done differently. But they're just kind of I feel like they just sort of decide we don't like how this is going. We're just gonna fucking flip it.
Yeah, I mean, I get what they were trying to do with Danielson and Omega. I mean, that should have been. Those two shouldn't have touched until whatever pay-per-view they were gonna do.
Well, what I think should have happened. And obviously, I think it should have been a deal where Danielson had the 30-minute thing with Omega, and then he's like, I want another shot, and Omega's like, no, you have to go through the Elite. So he spends every week, he goes through Carl Anderson, then he goes through Luke Gallows, then he goes through Brandon Cutler and Mike Nakazawa and each of the Bucks, and then he's like, you have to go through everyone. Then at the pay-per-view, he wrestles Adam Cole. And finally, he beats Adam Cole. And then Omega's like, all right, we'll wrestle. And, of course, that all is different because Omega's not the champion anymore at this point. But, that would have been a great way to build that storyline.
Yeah, and it's like Adam Cole versus, Bryan Danielson at a pay-per-view.
I'm down. I am fucking down.
Sign me the fuck up.
I would buy a pay-per-view just for that.
That's a license to print money, and AEW is just nah, we're just gonna go different routes. Right. Okay. But yeah, this tag match, this is a weird night where the matches began okay, and then the endings were just huh?
Yeah.
Why? But next is Bryan Danielson versus Miro. Go ahead.
Sorry, there should have been something where they restarted the match and then. The Lucha Brothers won cleanly and really helps to build them as the baby faces they're trying to make them. As opposed to, you have Cash Wheeler yelling saying I wasn't legal, and the referee's just okay, whatever. Have a good night.
Yeah, that was weird because they were trying to build it up as Cash wasn't the legal man. He wasn't the legal man. The referee's just I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
He's like, fuck you. This match is over. We're going home.
Unless they're building some kind of feud with FTR and this referee.
Yeah, because why the fuck not? Next is Bryan Danielson.
But it's an alternative to WWE.
Yeah, quote unquote alternative. Next is the AEW World Championship Eliminator Tournament Final. Bryan Danielson defeating Miro by technical submission, 20 minutes and 6 seconds.
Which obviously was designed to be Danielson and John Moxley.
Yeah, but Moxley is he's getting help to better himself, so good for him. Miro was.
You know what? I don't think that I see this whole thing, and I talked about it on our show a couple weeks ago. But it's like the way that you would hear people come out and talking about him. It's as if he survived a DUI where he almost killed somebody or something like that. Like they make it sound like he's a hero for realizing that he had a drinking problem and went to get help, and it's good on him that he got it. But it's like, it's not like he's changing the world here.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go that far. I mean, I get where you're coming from. People can kind of bloviate something into something bigger than what it actually is. But it's just like, yeah, I mean, good on Moxley. I mean, I don't mean to kick a man while he's down, but it explains a lot. Of like the past year and a half of his performance in the ring, and it's like, what is it? Jim Cornette calls him Moxley plumbing.
The balding plumber or something, yeah.
Balding plumber. So.
But yeah, I mean, like CM Punk coming out and saying, "Well, I'm glad he's getting help." It's kind of weird from somebody who doesn't like drink a drop or anything like that. But yeah, no, I mean, like I'm glad he's getting help. But I wonder too if it's sort of a thing where he's like, "Oh, my daughter's getting older. I don't want to miss out on stuff, so I better get the help I need." Which again, good on him.
Well, it's also kind of like that Shawn Michaels story where, he was, fucked up even when he had a kid. And then his kid, started to notice, things about his dad. But it was more so the fact that...
Daddy's sleeping. They don't want to go through that, yeah.
Yeah, daddy's sleeping. It's like, oh, shit. And then that's
I feel like Renee's a real ballbuster, too.
Well, you know what? I'm fine with that because with a guy like Moxley, you need a good, strong woman.
Needs it.
You need a woman that's not afraid to tell you to your face, hey, stop being a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
And my girl's like that too. My girl's not afraid to call me on my shit.
I mean, mine would, but I'm always right. So.
Yeah, we'll go with that. But Miro and Danielson. This match wasn't as good as I wanted it to be, and I don't know if, and I'm not gonna say that's Danielson because Danielson can, wrestle a broomstick and make it look interesting. Like Miro, I think it was more Miro than Danielson, personally.
I feel like this was a match that was written in WWE, and they just never got a chance to do it. Because it was very reminiscent of a WWE style.
Yeah, like it was an odd match, and it just had a very odd ending. Like, I know the storyline they were pushing was that, Miro has a bad neck. And, Daniel... I keep wanting to call him Daniel Bryan. I don't know why.
Old habits die hard.
I'm just gonna call him Daniel.
CM Punk did it on commentary.
Yeah, so Daniel goes for the Hurricane Run of DDT, and then he goes for that submission, and then Rusev, or not Rusev, but Miro taps out like instantaneously. So I'm just like, okay.
I feel like Miro's kind of got a role in the company where it's like, if we need someone to do something solid that's not going to embarrass anyone, we throw Miro in there. Like, I would be surprised. I'm surprised that Adam Page's first defense isn't going to be against Miro.
I mean, I wouldn't mind saying that. Like that would.
Yeah, but I feel like that's a role for Miro in this company.
Yeah, like he's kind of like what Kevin Owens is to WWE, where it's just like if you need to take him out of the toy box and have him play with the other toys, and then put him back in when you're ready to play with him again. Like he's a good hand. Like his matches with his feud with Roman, I thought was really good. And Roman and Owens seem to have really good matches. But
yeah, I had to just think about what that was for a minute. I was like, when did they have that feud? But now I remember earlier this year.
But Miro can do the same thing. Like Miro against Adam Page is gonna be. That's going to be a good match. It's going to be two guys who are just going to beat the shit out of each other, and I am down for that.
there's also no chance of it being another WWE written match occurring in AEW since Adam Page was never there.
Yeah, I mean, and I've always said Adam Page looks like he can be on WWE TV.
I would be surprised if he retires without an injury and never works there.
Eventually, I think he might go there. I mean, Kevin Castle has made it not made it very clear, but like, eventually guys like Adam Page and MJF might end up on WWE television pretty soon.
Yeah, I'm a big Adam Page guy too, so whatever he does, I'm good with.
So, I won't get to Adam Page, but next match, Falls Count Anywhere match, one of many. Christian Cage and Jurassic Express, Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus defeating the Super Clique, Adam Cole and the Young Bucks, and yeah, the match that Dave Meltzer gave 5 stars.
Yeah, you know what? At first, I was like, this was when it first happened. I thought this is a pretty good match, but I was kind of blinded by it being essentially Jungle Boys coming out.
Right.
And I watched it again. I'm like, this match is actually shit.
Yeah, I mean, Jungle Boy has improved ever since his match with Cole. He's really improved in the ring, and
yeah,
I like that he's growing the facial hair because you can't be Jungle Boy forever. You gotta be a man.
Jack Perry's a superstar. Jungle Boy's not.
Yeah, like call him Jungle Boy Jack Perry, or just Jack Perry. Just call him Jack Perry. Yeah, this match didn't really do it for me. Too much indie shit. I mean, I knew where it was going because it was the Young Bucks. If it was just Adam Cole versus Jungle Boy in pay-per-view, fine. I would have been content with that. But I already knew what this match was going to be. I mean, I feel like I'm Bret Hart talking about Triple H. In my head, I already know what this match is going to be like. 4 out of 10 stars.
I feel like they should have busted out. The Young Bucks should have busted out the same thing they did with the Lucha Brothers match, being the sneaker covered in thumbtacks thing, and I feel like it would have worked in this match.
Well, no, they did it better. They had the knee pads covered with thumbtacks.
Ooh.
As soon as I saw that, go ahead.
But I feel like the Nikes would have worked better in this spot.
As soon as I saw that knee pad spot, I just went, I hate this show.
It's so odd because there's so many good things on the show, but when something's bad, it's fucking atrocious.
Yeah, and it just took me out. I'm like, okay, can we finish this show up real quick? And then they did. Jungle Boy did the concerto, which I'm kind of, done with. I kind of wish that wasn't a thing anymore. And I honestly thought that they were going to set up Christian turning heel and attacking Jungle Boy.
Yeah, I was thinking as that was happening, I was probably about to go down.
Like, I like Christian, but it's just, like, they need to do something with him. He needs to be a heel.
Other than do Edge impressions.
Yeah.
Because he's doing the spear, too, on top. He's doing spears and concertos all the time.
You know what? I wasn't even thinking about that until you brought it up. Not so good Edge impressions.
Right.
It's like that meme when you buy it online when it comes to your home.
Yeah, he's like Wish.com Edge.
Wish.com Edge. Poor Christian. I like Christian. But, yeah, this match was a Young Bucks match. I mean, let's just be real. It was a Young Bucks match.
Yeah.
But
I mean, good on Jungle Boy finally getting a little notoriety here.
Yeah. Next is another tag team match. Holla holla. Cody Rhodes and Pac versus Malachi Black and Andre El Idolo. Match was 60 minutes and 52 seconds.
And you thought it couldn't get any worse after the last match.
Yeah, this is where I decided to... At this point, I was like, you know what? I'm going to start doing my laundry because why the fuck not? And I actually did my laundry during this match. And yeah, Cody, Christ, and Pac won. I mean, because Cody needs to get his wins back.
The Messiah and the Bastard.
The Messiah and the Bastard, because why the fuck not? Next is the AEW Women's Championship match. Dr. Britt Baker versus Tay Conti. Britt Baker won by pinfall. The match was 15 minutes and 24 seconds.
What is your take on Britt Baker? I don't think you and I have ever talked about her.
I'll say this. She's improved in the ring. I mean, obviously she's good on promos. Here's what I wish she would do less of, is stop trying to do less of the, hey, I gotta go out there and do a spot. Hey, I gotta go out there and do the thumbtacks. Hey, it's like Britt, you're already a star. You're already on top. You don't need to do this. Another thing is, and again, Joey Numbers. I gotta give credit where credit is due. He said Britt needs a foil. Britt not only needs a foil, she needs somebody that she can be intimidated by, like when they appear in the ring with her.
Yeah, Abaddon looked like it was going to be that.
Right. So, and the AEW women's division is just like, it's very, very like it's low on talent. It needs more women, and with a lot of the women that just got released from WWE, like Tony Khan needs to jump on that. Make this women's division more interesting, because I love Thunder Rosa, but I don't even think Thunder Rosa is it.
That's what they need. More talent with 3 hours on TV.
Right, and personally,
I think she should be using the stomp as a finisher and not the lockjaw. But I also feel like where I really get lost is I don't think she's that good at the ring.
right.
But just like the character, obviously she's over. The fans want to do DMD, so stop being a heel. Because I never understand why, when you're so obviously a babyface, you try harder to make yourself a heel.
Right. Yeah, at this point, she's over as fuck, and the people cheer for her. They wear her shit. And it's just like, be a face. Just be a fucking face. And personally, to me, I think of anyone that can step in that ring with her and make Britt go, oh shit. And supposedly, she's been miserable in the company, and she might show up in AEW because of her husband, is Charlotte.
But that wouldn't be anytime soon, because she's got to get out of her deal, and then she's got another 90 days.
I can almost imagine the thought of Charlotte coming to AEW makes Britt go, fuck. And I talked about this with RJ, it's almost like the scene in Friday. It's almost like the scene in Friday where Debo punches that guy because he wanted his bike back.
Right.
Charlotte is Debo.
I don't know, something tells me whatever happens, they're going to make it work with Charlotte.
Yeah.
WWE will, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I think she'll stay, but I think if you're talking realistically, as far as any woman on any promotion that could make Britt go fuck me, is Charlotte. Or maybe even Becky, but those two aren't going anywhere anytime soon.
Or Mickie James.
I love Mickie James, but I don't see Mickie James in that role.
If Mickie James shows up on that show, that moment of the reaction of Britt Baker would be priceless.
I think it'll be a good match, and I think it's something that can really solidify Britt as, someone like Mickie James, but I'm talking about somebody that final boss level shit. You know what I mean?
I see what you're saying, but I think Mickie is on that level of the top person, one of the top people for that, because there's only but so many absolute legends that would show up for that. So yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah, perfect world, Charlotte would make her lose her shit, but to be honest, that's not happening.
All right, I mean, to me, that's maybe the only thing I can think of, but yeah, this match was yeah. I mean,
Ty Conti is really improving, but she's not ready for that level yet.
Oh yeah, I think she's great. I mean, I think she's obviously very attractive, but she's very great in the ring. This match, I don't know if it was Britt or her, but it's just those two didn't gel well together.
After hearing the Ty Conti talk on the video package for that, I'm just I hope she never cuts a promo in her life.
Yeah, that's actually the first time I ever heard her talk, because I know she was Brazilian, but I thought, she's from Brazil, but she spent most of her life in America, and she can at least cut a promo. But no, she's...
Nope.
Promos are not her specialty.
No.
Promos said bye-bye.
A microphone is not your friend. A microphone is not your friend, my love.
The camera is your friend, definitely, but a microphone is not. But yeah, this match was, not very particularly good. And
Right.
I don't know if I can blame it on them. I think the crowd was just tired.
There's that. And like you said, they just don't seem to work together well.
I mean, this should have been the opener, in my opinion. But next is the shortest match of the night, shockingly. CM Punk versus Eddie Kingston. 11 minutes.
The one I was looking forward to seeing the most.
And it was 11 minutes.
Yeah. I looked at it, I was like, fuck, it's over? What the fuck?
Yeah, I remember just like I'm watching it and I'm actually getting invested. I'm like, oh shit, Punk's showing color. Like, this is actually a brawl. Like, these... Like, because I was worried that, okay, it's like Punk's going to have to carry Eddie Kingston in the match. I'm like, no, these two are legit beating the shit out of each other. And, Punk's showing color. And before I knew it, the match was over. I'm like, okay. Like...
Yeah, it was weak.
Like, you should have taken minutes from that 6-man and given it to them at least. Like, give them at least 5 more minutes. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, every match that was 5 to 10 minutes too long, just give them that time.
Yeah, and that was always like that was my thing the whole night. I'm like, okay, this match is too long. This match is too long. This match is great. And it's short. Like, what the fuck? So, I enjoyed it. I think it was the second best match of the night. I mean, Punk went over as he should. Eddie Kingston looked good in this match. So, yeah, that's all we can say about it.
Yeah, I mean, like, they did the thing afterwards where Eddie Kingston wasn't going to shake his hand, so they could have built that up. But then, if you believe what happened on Dynamite is what's going to happen, looks like we're headed towards MJF and Punk.
Yeah, which, I mean, we're getting that already. I mean, I'm not complaining, but we'll talk about that.
The promos will be great.
Oh yeah, exactly. Next is the Minneapolis Street Fight, the Dinner Circle. Chris Jericho, Jake Hager, Sammy Guevara, Santana Ortiz defeated Men of the Year, Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky, and American Top Team, Junior Dos Santos, Andre Arlovsky, and Dan Lambert by pinfall.
Because everyone fought like they were on the mean streets of Minneapolis.
Yeah, right. I fell asleep during this match. Like,
Lucky.
yeah, I was still doing laundry, and I literally just had my head down on my pillow on my couch. As soon as the bell rang, and my snoring is actually what woke me up, coincidentally. And then I got to the ending where Jericho paid homage to Eddie, which, pointing this out, that was actually the 16-year anniversary of Eddie's death, and they were actually at the city and state where Eddie passed away, the Target Center in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So there's a lot of Eddie homages, which, I can't knock that. I'm not going to knock it, so, good for them. I mean, Jericho was a good friend of Eddie's, so he paid homage to Eddie. Even did the shimmy. I mean, didn't do it very well, but, did the frog splash, got the win. So, I mean, yeah, that was a match.
It was a match. And that's about it.
Yeah, let's move on to the main event. Main event time. Hangman Adam Page versus Kenny Omega, the AEW World Champion with Don Callis. Singles match for the AEW World Championship. I think this was the longest match of the night. 25 minutes and 35 seconds. And then Dave Meltzer gave this 5.5 stars.
It must be great. He got 5.5. It got 5.5 stars.
In
actuality, the match itself was nothing special.
Right. I thought it was a good match. I mean, because it was simple. It made sense. I mean, the ending was kind of weird. I mean, this kind of like the tail of the tape of this pay-per-view. The ending was kind of weird, but the match went the way you thought it should have. I mean, I would have liked it more if they kicked out of each other's finishes. Like if, Kenny did the one-winged angel on, Paige, and Paige kicked out. And that's the way you sell this match of like, oh my god, no one's ever kicked out of a one-winged angel. Like, you can do that. I don't know. But I'm fine with the result because, Kenny is taking time off because he needs to heal up, so good for him.
I got what I wanted for my birthday.
Oh.
We're not going to see Kenny Omega for a while.
I think he's gonna be gone until like February.
The only thing better would have been if he retired.
No comment. Adam Page is your world champion. So, yay.
No, yeah, it was good, and it was a good ending too, where the Bucks came out and whichever one of them gave Page the nod, like to say, "Go for it, you got it."
Yeah, I mean, it made sense if you were paying attention. If you were like a casual, you're like, okay, what are they coming out for?
Yeah, and based on what we saw the night before on Rampage and what we saw on Wednesday, looks like we're headed for a split of the Elite too. That was kind of the beginning of it.
Which we can jump into. But before that, what were your overall thoughts on pay-per-view? Highs and lows.
The high was MJF. At first, the high was the 6-man Falls Count Anywhere, but now that went to a low. Easily the worst match was the Pac and Cody versus Andrade and Malachi Black match.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite part of the night was eating a sub sandwich.
Oh, well, there you go. Highs for me, again, we both agree. MJF and Darby, best match of the night. Match of the year candidate.
Yeah.
Punk and Kingston was it was what I wanted it to be, but I wish there was more, like longer. But still a good match. Enjoyed it for what it was. Lows, the 2 6-man tag matches, especially the Minneapolis Street Fight, which I fell asleep through. And yeah, that's really about it.
I have all of Meltzer's ratings if you care for this show.
Go right ahead, please.
Okay. And this isn't in order of the show, but here's just what we have. So the buy-in match, Hikaru Shida and Thunder Rosa versus Jamie Hayter and Nyla Rose, he gave 2.5 stars.
Okay.
He gave Darby Allin and MJF 4.5 stars.
Okay.
CM Punk and Eddie Kingston 4.5 stars.
Mm-hmm.
Bryan Danielson and Miro 4.5 stars.
Mm-hmm.
We already talked about the 5 and 5.5 star matches, so I'll skip over that.
Mm-hmm.
Cody and Pac versus Malachi Black and Andrade. He gave 4 stars too.
Mm-hmm.
Britt Baker and Tay Conti 3.5 stars.
Mm-hmm.
The Inner Circle versus America's Top Team, he gave 4 stars.
Mm-hmm.
And Penta and Ray Phoenix versus Cash and versus FTR, Lucha Brothers versus FTR, he gave 4.25 stars too.
Yeah, makes sense.
He's essentially on their payroll, so
Oh, you mean Uncle Dave? Like, I can't believe that.
Right.
So let's talk about AEW for a bit. So I only really watched like the first half of the show. I didn't see the main event. But yeah, the beginning of the show they had Kenny Omega and the Elite in the back, talking, and Omega congratulates Adam Page, but then he says I got to take some time off. Basically does the whole thing of like I need to go to Connecticut and find myself. And, he turns over to the Elite and says, while I'm gone, hold down the fort. And Adam Page goes, yeah, don't worry. I got this. And then Kenny goes, well, actually, I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to the Young Bucks. And so that sets up the split in the Elite. So pretty soon we're going to get Adam Page versus Kenny. So we'll see how that works out.
In the meantime, we're probably going to wind up with he and Cole and Bobby Fish against the Bucks.
And eventually you're going to get Kyle O'Reilly.
Yeah.
You're going to get
maybe take on to come back to them at that point.
Yeah, probably. And so, Adam Page comes out to a hometown's welcome, gives a nice little promo, talks about Bryan Danielson, which is funny because Jim Cornette points out nobody can cut a promo without somebody interrupting him. And as soon as he mentions Bryan Danielson's music hits. Comes out, and I'm not sure where they're going here. I'm not sure if they're trying to make him a heel or they're just trying to make him an asshole.
I think when he said something about people in Virginia don't work hard, that's a heel comment. That's not necessarily a heat comment.
Right. So I'm interested to see where this goes because I know you and me talked about this that CM Punk kind of needs a character change. Bryan Danielson really needs a character change. So I'm interested to see where they're going. They're going with this Bryan Danielson thing. So
I feel like Bryan Danielson's character historically has been that he doesn't have much of a character, other than when he was like the asshole vegan character, which is actually who he is.
right. I think this could work because his whole thing of I'm Bryan Danielson. I'm a world class wrestler. I'm better than all of you.
Yeah.
Like that works. That could work. Just turn it up a notch. But
I think of what. Oh, I'm sorry. I think of when he first went to WWE and they did the Nexus the night that he got fired for choking Justin Roberts. But when he was beating down John Cena, he was screaming out, "You are not better than me." That's a heel. That's Bryan Danielson as a heel that I could get behind.
oh yeah, and then he's essentially doing it to Adam Page, where he's like, congratulations. Personally, I'm disappointed it's not Kenny Omega, but you'll do. And he pisses off Adam Page, and they have to separate him, and he has a match with Pizza Uno, Evil Uno, and I didn't watch that. How'd that go?
Which is what you'd expect.
Right. So apparently he's going to go through the entire Dark Order. He's going to wrestle Colt Cabana next week in Chicago. So, I mean that might be a good match because Colt can at least wrestle.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. Which I probably won't.
Although we haven't seen him wrestle since he showed up there.
Yeah, he's basically just the guy in the back.
Yeah.
And I'm interested to know if how he's been avoiding CM Punk.
Yeah, or if maybe things are okay with them enough to work to be in the same building.
I mean, I can imagine. I mean, Punk's already been back since September or August.
Yeah, August.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, it's just I'm pretty sure those two patched it up, or at least said, hey, we have our problems. Let's just be professional about it.
Yeah.
But
I'm pretty sure they're not best friends again or anything like that.
Oh no, they're just being civil. Rest of the show is kind of a blur to me, so you're gonna have to fill in some spots. Because I know the main event was Jay Lethal versus Sammy.
Yeah, I was looking forward to this because I like Jay Lethal. Nothing spectacular. Sammy got the win. Which, by the way, when Sammy's been accused of what he's been accused of, should he really be using a move called Spanish Fly? But Sammy got the win with the GTH, and it got to be a pretty contentious match. There was one point where Sammy was flipping off Jay Lethal, saying "fuck you." Sammy got hurt to where they brought the doctor out, and it was like, oh, he's going to stop the match, and then he didn't. Then afterwards, the Inner Circle came out to celebrate with Sammy, except Jake Hagar, he wasn't there. And then Sammy and Jay Lethal shook hands.
Someone pointing out something that I don't know if you caught, but there was apparently a moment with him and Jericho where Jericho gave him a weird look.
I'm not saying that didn't happen, but if it did, I didn't catch it.
I just saw the photo that somebody took a screenshot of where Sammy has his hand on Jericho's chest and Jericho's giving this look like, what the fuck?
To be fair, Jericho has weird looks all the time. Maybe he had gas.
Yeah, probably. Maybe he got gassed out just getting in the ring.
Oh, I forgot who it was at some point on the show. But they said, I'm gonna be at catering. And I'm like, oh, is Eric Bischoff there?
Oh yeah, I forgot. I don't know why I forgot this. So, CM Punk and MJF. MJF comes out, gets a promo. Basically just chastises everybody in Virginia, talks a lot of shit, does his whole nobody else can beat me, and I'm gonna challenge Adam Page for the AEW World Championship. I'm gonna kill his horse. I think he said something like that. And then Punk's music hits and the place goes nuts. MJF just kind of looks at him like, okay. And tries to shake his hand, says, Maxwell. Punk looks at his hand, looks back up, and laughs and walks away. So, I like that. I like that Punk is, the storyline is Punk is really? You're trying to be like me? I was you before you were even born. Literally. So, I mean, obviously I'm invested in this because it's fucking CM Punk and MJF. Like, take my fucking money already. Like,
right. The one thing that nobody heel did on this show, and I mean this is kind of inside, but because I live I live in Virginia, the area not too far from where they were is a naval base.
right.
So they could have done something with the Navy, especially having just passed Veterans Day and stuff like that.
Right. I forgot. There's something else I wanted to bring up. I don't. Oh yeah, and then Eddie Kingston did a backstage promo. What is it? The Hill Country, the Hill Country Dollar Store Young Bucks come interrupt his promo with Daniel Garcia, who somehow manages to be on TV every single week. So that's something that Eddie Kingston has to look forward to. So yippee for him.
That was the segment where someone said they were going to catering.
Oh yeah, Eddie Kingston was like, one promo. Can I just do one promo? Like, I'm going to catering. So
they also did the Butcher and Blade against Orange Cassidy and Tomohiro Ishii. So Tomohiro Ishii made his debut on the show. Not a great match, but the Butcher tore his bicep in that match.
yeah, that sucked for him, man. Like I did watch that, but I was zoning in and out because I
because of the Butcher and the Blade.
Not really, because they at least look like something. They at least look like guys that could have been like the territories. They look like ass kickers.
Yeah.
Orange Cassidy, if I don't have to see Orange Cassidy ever again, I'll be happy, because once his gimmick had a very short shelf life, and it's like once you've seen it, you've seen enough of it. So, and then what is it, Tomohiro Ishii? Like, I didn't really care. I mean, I'm pretty sure the guy's talented, and I'm not gonna disrespect his talent or his legacy, but it's just like, I don't care about these. This is gonna sound kind of fucked up. I don't care about these Japanese wrestlers. I don't.
The problem is I don't know who they are, and if you listen to them doing commentary, like, you would think that you would think that we do know who every last one of them is.
Right, and it's just like at All In, like who was the guy that came out and interrupted Moxley? Like the guy with the cut up head?
I know who you're talking about, and this actually speaks to your point, in that I don't remember who the fuck it was.
Yeah, because I remember that pay-per-view, Moxley wrestling another older Japanese man, and I remember a friend of mine actually tagged me in on a post with a bunch of other people, because he usually does that for pay-per-views, and he was tagging me in. And I remember watching the match, I'm going, I don't care about this match. And it was Moxley against some, Japanese guy. And, of course, there are other people in the post. I'm like, what are you talking about? This is a great match. I'm like, it does nothing for me. And after the match, the other Japanese guy came out, and the whole crowd was going nuts, and Moxley was going nuts. And my first reaction was, who is this?
I think AEW has a problem establishing an identity, because on the one hand, like I was saying earlier with my wife watching the show, is that the people who were in WWE, like, that's the perfect thing. Like, you're like, oh yeah, Adam Cole's on the show, let me watch this. And then you're like, he's good, but I really like this Darby Allin guy. And like, that's kind of the way to do it. But then they're also like, oh my god, there's, Toshihiro Ishii. And I'm like, who kind of knows who a lot of people are, I'm like, fucking who? And just the same thing when, like, Excalibur says, oh, this move, and he has this, like, 18-word name for it, and it's like, it's a fucking plancha, just call it that.
Right, and I remember one of my followers, his name is Morgan, he actually tagged me in something on Twitter. He asked me, who's Ishii? And I went, you're asking the wrong person, dude.
It's the person that Lucy Liu played in Kill Bill.
Right, there you go. Which I wish that would have been Ishii.
Orin Ishii, that was her name.
Orin Ishii, great movie. I love Kill Bill. It still holds up.
Yeah.
One and two. I hope to God there's a 3. Yeah, the match. I knew who it was for. I just didn't care. Didn't care at all. And also the fact that Orange Cassidy's in it. It's just like, why are we still pretending that this guy is a thing?
Right.
But yeah, the rest of the show, again, that's when I tuned out. So
for the most part, that we kind of hit everything on the show.
So let's do Survivor Series predictions, and we'll call it a night.
All right.
All right. So Survivor Series is this Sunday. It's going to be in Brooklyn at the Barclays Center, November 21st.
Where someone pulled a knife on me one time.
Really? What happened?
So when we were there for WrestleMania a couple years ago, I was at Raw, the night after WrestleMania.
Right.
And so I'm sitting down, and everyone behind me is sitting down, and I'm a tall guy, so if people behind me are sitting down, I try to, because I don't want to block their view. So this, I don't want to say, I say kid, but I'm in my 40s, so anyone probably in their 20s is a kid to me. Mm-hmm. So this kid is like standing up in front of me, and it's like one of those things where like someone is showing up, because, you know, it's the night after WrestleMania, so that shit always happens, right? Mm-hmm. So, you know, after like 20 minutes of this, I like tap him on the shoulder. I'm like, hey, you know, everyone behind me is sitting down. Do you mind sitting down? You know, and then, you know, obviously when the whole crowd stands up, we all will. And they're like, hey, why don't you mind your own fucking business? And then the person that was with him is like, is your legs broken? Because I can make sure that happens. And then they pulled a knife out of their pocket.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Did you call security on him?
I told them. They're like, well, whatever, we'll do it. But like everyone behind me kind of had my back on that one and said, yeah, when you stand up, I can't see. And so they kind of mellowed out from that point on. But, you know, Jesus. I should have known to, I guess, for lack of a better term, mouth off to someone in New York City.
Yeah. Usually I'm the one that's kind of a pussy. I'm just like, I'll just wait until he eventually sits down. Like, I don't like confrontations. I'm not a very confrontational person.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, like, if I was like, it'd be different if I was like, hey, asshole, sit the fuck down. But, well, you know, I wasn't pulling that shit.
Yeah, well, at least you were nice about it, but it's still one of those things, like, even if you're nice, you still run into the dickhead. So, which, I mean, yep. That's happened to me, even when I'm nice. Someone has to be a dick about it. So. Yeah. What matters is that you're okay.
Yeah, I survived.
You survived. Like Survivor Series. Good segue. Team Raw, 5-on-5 men's Survivor Series elimination match. Team Raw, Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, Bobby Lashley, and Austin Theory. Team SmackDown, Drew McIntyre, Jeff Hardy, King Woods, Happy Corbin, and just announced on SmackDown tonight, Sheamus.
I'd like to see them put Rich Holland in that spot, being a new guy to SmackDown.
Well, he's actually with Sheamus. He's actually, I guess, like his new best friend.
Yeah, I know he's been doing those promos the last couple of weeks. That would have been good. Or even if, because he's been kind of mouthing with Cesaro, especially being Sheamus' former tag partner, maybe had the two of, I don't know how they did it, but maybe had them go at it for that spot. Is that how it went down?
Well, what happened was that they had a fatal four-way to determine who'd be the last member. It was Sheamus, Jinder, Ricochet, and Cesaro. And it came down to Cesaro and Sheamus, and it looked like Cesaro was going to win, but then Rich came out and distracted him. Then Sheamus took advantage and got the bro kick, and there you go.
Okay. I think SmackDown wins this. I think SmackDown's the flagship show at this point.
Yeah, SmackDown should win this. SmackDown is the better show. Yeah, this match, it has potential to be something interesting.
Plus, being on a network, SmackDown is kind of like the A show at this point.
Oh yeah, they want to keep saying Raw is the A show. Raw stopped being the A show a long time ago.
Yeah. If nothing else, like I said, as soon as SmackDown went to Fox.
Exactly. I guarantee if Raw went to Fox, it would improve in the ratings.
Not if it's a 3-hour show still.
You have a good point about that.
It's hard to do that on a network too, especially a network like Fox, because even if you run your show from 8 to 11, most Fox networks have the 10 o'clock news.
Right. There's a friend of mine he's on a podcast called Clark Street Wrestling. His name is Devin, and he said WWE should release that third hour of Raw. That should be the next release.
Those advertising bucks, man, that shit ain't happening.
I know, but it's one of those things like I want it to happen and it will never happen for the longest time. So I don't know. But anyways, next is the 5-on-5 Women's Survivor Series elimination match. Team Raw: Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, Carmella, and Queen Zelina versus Team SmackDown: Sasha Banks, Shayna Baszler, Shotzi, Natalya, and Toni Storm.
I feel like they're pushing Liv Morgan so much, she's probably going to be a sole survivor in this one.
Right, and also she's, feuding with Becky, so they're going to want to push her as, the underdog. And
either that or she loses, or she's the last one on the Raw team and she loses.
You know what I think could happen? I mean, it probably won't happen, but it could be like Liv is the last person. There's like 2 other people on Team SmackDown. And she ends up getting the pin on somebody else, and then the other person beats the shit out of her. And she looks like she's holding her own, and then Becky comes out and costs her the match. And then later on down the line, Liv can cost Becky her match against Charlotte.
In theory, just to not kill what they've done with her over the last couple of months, if you do that situation and Shayna being the one to get the final pin, that would work.
I mean, I wouldn't mind it, because I like Shayna. I mean, I like Liv. I think Liv is... She's gotten so much better, in my opinion. She's gotten so much better. She's over. Like, she is over. Like, I don't care what anyone says. She is over. The crowd loves her. Shayna, I'm glad they're bringing her back as the ass kicker. Yeah. But, I'm going to go with Team Raw on this one.
Yeah.
Next is champion versus champion. The Raw Women's Champion versus the SmackDown Women's Champion. Becky Lynch, the Raw Women's Champion, versus Charlotte Flair, the SmackDown Women's Champion.
I predict this to be uncomfortable.
In what sense?
Just who knows what we're gonna actually get out of this? Like, are they gonna potato the fuck out of each other or what?
I mean, 2 women beating the fuck out of each other?
Well, especially with I don't know, the more that these people talk on podcasts, the more I tend to think it's a work, but assuming that it's not, just with the real life piece of it, like, it's, yeah. The potential for awkwardness is there.
I think it's the best of both worlds, because I do think these 2 do have, beef with each other. I mean, because I believe Charlotte and Becky when they say, yeah, we're not really friends anymore. I mean, I believe that part. As far as it being like, I want to beat the ever-living piss out of her when I see her walk into catering. Yeah, that's overblown. I mean, it's like with the thing with Corey Graves and Booker T, where, Booker T was talking about beating the shit out of Corey Graves, and then, the very next week it's like, haha, we were just joking, people. It's like, nah, somebody from the office probably called and said, hey, guys, shut the fuck up. Play nicey nice.
Everyone knows Booker T needs to go one-on-one with The Undertaker.
No, you say it right. One-on-one with The Undertaker!
Playa.
Holla, holla.
At a convention, Teddy Long told me to fuck off because I walked by his table where nobody was there. And I said, hey, Teddy, what's going on, playa? And he goes, hey, go fuck yourself.
Well, goddamn,
I think
Teddy.
because I didn't stop.
Oh, boy. I mean, did you at least ask him if he wanted to have a tag team match?
I mean, that was the first thing he said there. I was like, maybe I'll just keep walking and not talk to him.
But, yeah, this match could go either way. I mean, I don't even think I want a good wrestling match. I just want to see these 2 beat the fuck out of each other.
So you want to see the Bret Hart-Shawn Michaels match from '97?
I want to see Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte Flair from Survivor Series in 2018.
Okay, that'd be nice.
Like, I don't want to see a pinfall. I don't want submissions. I just want to see 2 broads just fucking each other up because they can. Like, that's what I want.
Down.
I don't even care who wins. But what about you? I don't know if you made your choice.
You know what? Because for a while they were teasing Becky becoming Becky 2 belts again, and the consensus was that they wanted to take the belt off Charlotte. So if they figured out a way to make this a title for title match, that'd be kind of cool too. Something tells me we're getting some kind of a fuck finish because neither one of these chicks is going to want to look weak in either way. Neither of them's going to want to lose. So if we get some kind of fuck finish, double DQ deal.
Oh yeah, like again, I don't care who wins. I don't even want a winner. I think I want the audience to win because they're seeing a fight. Like,
Yep.
Not a pretty fight, not a cat fight, but an actual fight.
Cat fight.
Next is Big E versus Roman Reigns, champion versus champion.
I mean, Roman's got to win this because he's so fucking strong, right?
I kind of want this to
in the
be
eyes
like
of the
a
company.
fuck...
I mean,
Well, the thing is, I want this to be a fuck finish because Roman's not taking the pin, but I also don't want Big E losing. So have this be like a double count out, double disqualification, because you need. Because okay, so far I'm not really digging Big E's title run. I don't know how you like. How do you feel about Big E's title run?
No, I'm with you. Much like Kofi's, the moment of getting the title was great, and everything since has been abysmal.
Right. I mean, I don't want to like be that guy, even though it's already like 2 months, but or even like a month and a half. I don't even think, but like, I think they're really trying to make Big E's title run better than Kofi. Like they're trying to give him more opponents, like better opponents. I think the problem with Big E is that he's still trying to be too much like the New Day instead of trying to be his own guy.
They gave Kofi Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. It's going to be hard to give for Big E to have better people to work with.
Yeah, but it's just like also Big E's a big guy, so I mean they already gave him Bobby, they gave him Drew McIntyre, they gave him Roman. Eventually it's going to be him and Seth and him and maybe Kevin Owens, which I wouldn't mind that. But yeah, it's just I think Big E needs to find himself because he's trying to do too much like the New Day, and not trying to do too much like Big E. And I know he's already made it clear that he doesn't want to do the serious guy route, but it's just like maybe you should be a little bit serious and maybe at the same time still be Big E.
I enjoyed that serious promo on Monday.
That was a good promo. I liked it. And while we were talking, SmackDown came on. He came out at the end of the show, and him and Roman had a big schmoz. So and it was good. It was enjoyable. So.
But you weren't listening, so you don't know exactly what he said.
Well, he didn't say anything. He just came out.
Oh, okay, he just came out. So, based on the promo from Monday, I'm thinking if there's a fuck finish, we're probably getting New Day and Usos involved. I mean, Kofi's hurt. We're probably getting like Xavier Woods and Usos involved for that.
Well, it also could play into what happened at the beginning of SmackDown because last SmackDown, Roman took Xavier's crown. And
right.
The show began with the Usos and Paulie setting up like the coronation. Roman comes out and he looks pissed off. He's like, "Whose idea was this? I don't need this crown. I took this crown because I can," which I thought that was cool. I was like, maybe Roman shouldn't take the crown because that would be too corny. And I like the fact that he's just like, "I took it because I can."
Yeah.
I'm Debo. Like I took that fucking crown because I can. And then Xavier Woods comes out and pretty
much give me the crown, punk.
Like what crown? And then Xavier comes out and just does the whole thing of like, you know what? You took my crown, whatever. That crown doesn't make me who I am. Like I don't need that sash and that crown to make me who I am.
I'm already the king.
And it was kind of interesting, and I didn't see them doing this because like the Usos start fucking up like his sash, his scepter, and his royal seat. And you see Xavier cry. Like, you see a tear come down his eyes. Like, and it's a man tear. It's not like, he was going, oh! Like, he was just like, it was almost like he's pissed off, but he's so pissed off he wants to cry tear. Like, you're breaking me type of tear. And I'm like, that's interesting. And Roman's about to crush his crown. He's like, are you sure you don't care about this? And Xavier comes in and tries to fight him off, but they can't. And then Roman tells, Xavier, there's only one king around here. And then he crushes his crown with his foot. And I'm just like, fuck it. Like, fucking A. Like, Roman is the guy. He's not only the guy, he can be a good scumbag heel.
I like it.
And at the end of the night, Xavier comes out and pretty much tells Roman, hey, you wanted to do that? Let's do this man-to-man where you don't have your boys with you. And Roman comes out, but of course he's smiling. He's like, "Did you think I was going to come out here alone?" And as Paul Heyman's calling for the Usos, you see each one of the Usos pretty much flying out of the entranceway because they're being like thrown around. And then Biggie comes out, and then Biggie and Roman have their little schmoz, and again it was good. It was a nice way to end the show.
That's not bad.
But I'm interested to see how this match goes because this is a WrestleMania main event for sure. I just hope, I hope it's more of a fuck finish because Biggie just is now in the main event picture. He's now the WWE champion. And they're sure as hell not going to have Roman lose this match clean as a sheet. Or even in some type of fuck finish. So, have this be like a double DQ, double count out. And just continue to make Biggie strong.
Biggie needs it. Roman doesn't need it, but Roman's not going to lose.
Right. I mean, I don't see Roman losing this title anytime soon to anybody.
I think he's got to be one of those guys that holds it like a Bruno Sammartino type of thing, like several years.
Oh, yeah. Like, that's... Because it's just like, realistically, who do you put Roman in front of that could beat him and look serious?
We already had it, and he's part-time, John Cena.
I mean, The Rock is rumored, but I don't really think The Rock wants... Rock even said straight up, I don't want to be champion. I just want to have one last match.
I think if we're going to see Rock and Roman, we're looking at WrestleMania year after next where it's in Hollywood.
Exactly. And also, this is the 25th anniversary of The Rock's debut, so...
Yep.
We'll see. There's 3 more matches. One of them is The Rock 25th anniversary battle royal. I'm assuming that's going to be a pre-show match.
I have the list of entrants if you don't.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
All right, so it's 25 people in this match. So we have Ricochet, T-Bar, Mansoor, Cesaro, Street Profits, the Viking Raiders, R-Truth, Drew Gulak, AJ Styles, Omos, Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn got kicked off the tag match and he's on the Battle Royal. Humberto and Angel, Apollo Crews, Commander Aziz, Otis and Chad Gable, the Hurt Business, the Dirty Dogs, Jinder Mahal and Shanky.
Fuck it, give it to Sami Zayn. Give it to Sami Zayn. Why not?
Almost. Why not almost?
Yeah, you got
believable.
Next 2 matches, you got the tag champions versus tag champions, RK Bro versus the Usos.
Gosh, I don't know.
I mean, this might be the match of the night.
I think probably RK Bro because they'll be able to piss off Roman if the Usos lose.
Right. So yeah, RK Bro, give it to them. And then last match. Well, not the last match, but it's the last match on the card. Another champion versus champion. Damian Priest, the United States champion, versus Shinsuke Nakamura, the Intercontinental champion.
This has got to be Damian Priest, I think.
Yeah, I mean it's weird because 3 years ago on paper this would have been a great match, but Nakamura, they clearly don't.
It's going
care
through the
about
motions.
him. And somebody pointed out a fact which is kind of scary. Ever since he won the Intercontinental title, he has not defended it once.
Oh yeah.
Yep, he has not defended it ever since he won.
Yeah, I think like Shinsuke's there pretty much to collect a paycheck and say I work for WWE, but he's not like, pun not intended. He's not all in on it.
Right, because also I think Shinsuke likes working there. Because he said before, my family likes living here. I don't want to up and leave and just move to another state or another country again. So,
right.
I mean, hey, good on him. He's making that money. He's supporting his family. So, can't knock off him.
Everyone that I talked about Damian Priest, no one is really down on him, and myself included. I think Damian Priest is great.
Oh yeah, like he's a good example of NXT where it's just like they brought him up and they didn't fuck with him. They didn't take away his entrance. Well, they kind of did take away his entrance, but they didn't take it right off the bat. They put him in a big feud, with I mean, we may disagree
superstar.
yeah, a superstar artist, maybe not in our eyes, but, in this modern day era. And they put him in a big feud with him and, Miz. And,
No, I'm talking about Bad Bunny, a superstar.
Yeah, that's what I said. Bad Bunny is a
Yeah.
is a superstar in music, and maybe not to us, but to other people he is.
You know what though? Like, I don't follow that style of music, but I had actually never heard of him before he showed up. And so, but I Googled him and I looked at it and I'm like, fuck, man, this guy's fucking huge.
Oh yeah, like my girl's niece was like, oh my god, he's wrestling. I love him. Like he's my husband. So it's just like, I'm like, okay, if that's your type, okay. But again, I have respect for Bad Bunny because he actually took it seriously. He put in the work, and he was on this thing on HBO that LeBron James does. I think it's called like The Barbershop or something, where he'll have guests on. And
yeah, I know the show you're talking about.
Yeah, he was on, and he was talking about wrestling, and LeBron James brought up, he's like, how was WrestleMania? He's like, it's bigger. It's bigger than the Super Bowl, and he's like, it's hard. Like, it's not easy. And, LeBron James just starts, like, marking out, talking about, man, I was a big fan of wrestling as a kid. Like, I was heavily into it. So it's always fun seeing, like, celebrities talk about how much they love wrestling. And
yeah.
Or just, like, saying, like, I was a big fan of wrestling, like, when Matthew McConaughey was on a show with, John Cena. He's like, man, I was a big fan of, like, Skandar Akbar when I was a kid.
All right. Yeah, and I looked at that match at WrestleMania at the time. I was like, wow, we get to the end. This could be the match of the year. Obviously, we talked earlier about MJF and Darby Allin possibly being that, but gosh, I think that Bad Bunny match from WrestleMania still holds up.
It was predictable, but in a good way. It was what it should have been. And the fact that Bad Bunny did a Canadian Destroyer was the icing on the cake.
Normally I'm like, oh, everyone does that now, but not a fucking rap star.
Right. And it's just, it's one of my choices of match of the year. Like, it was enjoyable. It's what it should have been, but much more. But, that's our predictions for Survivor Series. And that's pretty much the show. That's everything we had to discuss. Was there anything in particular you wanted to bring up?
No, but as Clubber Lang said, my prediction for Survivor Series is pain, and that's just by watching it.
There we go. But yeah, man, I appreciate you for coming on, dude.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for inviting me, man.
Yeah, no problem. But go ahead and plug your stuff.
Yeah, check it out. False Count Radio. We do shows weekly. Flip around the day sometimes, but get it at falsecountradio.com, falsecountradio.net. Everywhere you get podcasts, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, no Twitter. And we did a couple interviews recently, so those are all up there on the YouTube.
All right, so look for False Count Radio. You can find it anywhere that podcasts are distributed. Spreaker, Google Play, anywhere. Great show. Great talk, great hosts. So look for that show. And then where you can find me, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Drew Yari Show. The main show you can find on Spreaker. You can find anywhere. YouTube, Google Play, iTunes. Also support the Patreon. Just $5 a month. All you gotta do is support the Patreon. I do shows with RJ, Ruben Prime, who I'm actually doing a show next week. We're doing a Thanksgiving special. I also do a show with Jeff Lippman. So just $5 gets you shows like that. And you can also get this show on Patreon, unedited, uncut, ad free. So support the Patreon. And just shout out to everybody that has a podcast. But anyways, guys, appreciate y'all for listening, downloading, and I will see y'all next week. And that's about it. So, peace.